what happened last night? What were the tactical battles that Simone Inzaghi and Hansi Flick were involved in last night that gave us an exciting game at the San Siro?
Peter, good morning. Like you rightly said, you know my love for Barcelona. I like what they do. I like how they run football. I like how they believe in the youth, they believe in the young boys. And for that matter, I always love them, love watching them. But everybody in Ghana knows that Coach Nimley is a Manchester United fan. Look, truth be told, it went beyond tactics yesterday. It was beyond tactics. It came down to the players themselves. Who wanted it most? Who is the most experienced? Because I've looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, and I said, okay, if Inter had scored in the 88th, 89th minute, I think they would have seen the game through. If Barca had the likes of Bardi at left back, I think they would have won the game in the 90 minutes. That was the first time. But to be honest with you, you have to credit Inter Milan. Don't take anything away from them. 88th minute, 3-2 down at the San Siro. Maybe if the second leg was in Spain and it was 3-2 down 88th minute, they would have thrown in the towel. But the manner in which they were able to galvanize themselves, go watch the clip again. When Inter considered that goal from Rafinha, look at the dejection on the face of Inzaghi, the manager. The camera fell on him, and you could clearly see that, come on, man, what is this? He knew, as a coach, he knew it was over. But again, the players on the field of play, those protagonists on the full field of play, they were able to tell themselves that, look, let's go at it for the very last time. Now, one of the reasons why they believed they could crawl back or they could rescue the situation within the 90 minutes was the fact that on the day, Inter Milan as a team were very, very efficient in the chances created. Look at their very first chance. It got buried by Lautaro Martinez. Look at the penalty kick. It got buried by that wonderful Turkish midfielder. Then look at, again, the chance. Who was at the end of that move? Nobody thought a 37, 38-year-old defender, somebody who I believe is home and dry, in the next year or so, he can obviously not be doing the sort of things he's doing. He was at the end of the move and then slotting the ball into the back of the net as if he's the topmost striker in the world. The likes of Gyökeres, the likes of Victor Osimhen, the likes of Erling Haaland will be extremely, very, very proud to see a defender like that do the sort of things they would have done at that moment in such big game. But credit to the two teams. Look, this is what football is all about. If you ask me what went wrong, what went right, I'll just tell you in simple language, this is football. If you understand the definition of what football is very, very unpredictable. That is one of the unique definitions of football. It is so unpredictable. It is so exciting. It is full of life and it is full of sorrow. At the end of the game yesterday, one side had life in them. One side had pain in them. Again, it came down to what experience is all about. Nathan, we have always said that if you have an experienced player or you have an experienced team and the team are playing at the top level, they will always find a way through. Yeah. If you have an inexperienced team and they are playing so well, when the time comes for them to showcase their experience, that is where they will fall short. Believe you me, on the equalizing goal in that 90th minute by Inter Milan, if that was the Barcelona first choice left back in Balde, Barcelona wins this game. But the young chap who did so well, producing two wonderful assists to equal to restore parity, I think he was cheaply and dispossessed by Dumfries. Again, Dumfries over two legs. I think you may want to highlight the Inter Milan goalkeeper. Yes. Yesterday, he was the difference. No two ways about that. And again, wonderful. Barcelona will look at the game yesterday, again, on chances created. Nathan, nobody argues that. Nobody debates that. On chances created. If Barcelona had Lewandowski fully fit, or if Lewandowski could give what to run, and Lautaro Martinez gave to Inter yesterday, I think Barcelona would have won it. But Inter deserved, look, throughout the competition, they've gone unbeaten. I stand to be corrected on this, but I don't think they've lost any game. The West, everywhere they've played, anywhere they've been, home and away, they find a way to win football games. And if you want to look at that, I think they deserve to be in the final. We saw Barcelona in the last round, lost to Dortmund. If there were extra minutes, I think Dortmund would have rescued that because Barcelona were in 6s and 7s. So on the face of that, everybody know I'm a Barcelona fan, not because I love the way they do their things, but on the face of what I have witnessed throughout the competition, I think if there's anything out there deserving to win, I had predicted that Barcelona will win it if they can put away the chances they will create, because I just can't see anything in this group, anything in the not even the PSG that everybody is applauding for their possessive football. If you put PSG against Barcelona, on the faces of chances that will be created, I think Barca will create the most chance. So it is up to the Barcelona boys to put away those chances. Failure to do so, like what we saw yesterday, I think you get punished. And Inter Milan, Lautaro was not 100% fit. Thuram not 100% fit. Dumfries not 100% fit. A lot of the guys have fit. They were injected. When I saw Lautaro yesterday in the starting 11, I was shocked. I said, no, but this man, the coach said clearly what told me, my only information, that he's been injected. And you could clearly see that there were moments where he couldn't run and he had to be substituted. They have a huge decision from now to the final in 3 weeks or so, whether to keep playing him or to get him rested, because I do believe both Arsenal and PSG will give them another formidable opposition. Any of them, formidable opposition. So they need to not bring unfit or half-fit players into that final in Bayern Munich or at the Allianz Arena, or else maybe they may not laugh like the way they are laughing. But look, it was indeed a spectacle. Everybody who loves football, everybody who hates football, if you watch this yesterday, you have a second thought that this is the game I'm supposed to love later.
I see. For Barcelona, where do they go from here? They got really close, and yet they've missed out on another Champions League final. It will be 10 years since they last won the Champions League. How do they recover? How do they recover from this? How do they rebuild? What must they do for them to get into this position, let's say next season?
I think it's very simple. They have a very, very good team. They have a young team. Let's put it on record. Look at the likes of somebody like Gavi, who had a serious ACL injury, has not fully recovered. So the form we know him to have, he needs a proper preseason and then to come back re-energize, revitalize, to come and push. If you look at the Barcelona setup, apart from the left-footed centre-back, who is Martinez, even Araujo himself, look, an Araujo on form will not allow what Thuram did to him yesterday. So Hansi Flick will have to get them to focus on the Clásico. At least at the beginning of the season, if anybody were to tell you that Barcelona will win the Copa del Rey, win the La Liga, get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, coming so close, I think they will accept it. Juan Laporta and Deco are the people at the top of the Barcelona hierarchy. They would accept that, because if you look at where they came from last season, they didn't win anything last season. And for them to have put up the sort of quality they've put up, I think they'll be wonderful. All they need to do, in my view, they need to go into the market and get another prolific striker. Get somebody who can deputize for Lamine Yamal. Don't forget, he's too young. 17 years to have played over 100 games in less than 2 seasons.
I know you are very particular about young players getting overloaded with matches.
Yes, I don't like that. You need to get somebody, go back to Athletic Club and go and see whether you can negotiate for them and bring in the somebody that should have been a Ghanaian international, Nico Williams, and then find a proper balance. But look, in midfield, I think they are solid in the young, in Pedri, in Gavi, in the people they've got. I think they are solid. I think they need about 3 more players. The young chap who was a left back yesterday will learn from what happened yesterday, and he can only be a better replacement for Bardi going into the future. And then at right back, I think that was an issue yesterday. Koundé we all know naturally it's not a right back, but he enjoys playing there as well. And with what they've got, Araujo will need a proper preseason to establish himself as indeed the able captain of this team. And if you are a Hansen Flick, you look at these boys and say, look, wow, I'll go at it again next season. And I think if they can get another potent striker, Lewandowski, how old is he now? 36, 37 years. Obviously, they cannot overly rely on him. Fernand Torres has been very, very good a replacement. But that sort of consistency. Yesterday, you bear with me, if Lewandowski was not injured, he was at full force that we've experienced this season. Some of those headers and some of those area balls, he wins them. He puts some of them into the back of the net, and Barcelona will be smiling. So look, they have a solid team. Every coach in the world would not want to come against this Barcelona setup. The control they will have on the ball. How many teams will play like Inter Milan? So they have a very good chance of going at it again. And for me, I do believe that if they can keep these boys, manage the workload on it, because look, football will be deprived of one of its best ever talent. I think after the Messi and Ronaldo era, the Lamine Yamal, the Pedri, I'm not going to mention Vinicius Junior. He's an excellent player. But in terms of raw talent, proper technical ability, you want to look at Lamine Yamal and say, look, he's the next big thing. So Barca, we saw Ansu Fati when he was coming. They mismanaged him. He got injured. The boy is struggling to get back to his best form. Manage the workload on Lamine Yamal. Manage the workload on Pedri. Manage the workload on Gavi. I think they will come back stronger. Because don't forget, Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, they are all Spanish international.
Yeah,
they are all Euros winners. So they know what goes into winning a competition like this. And this is the very first time that Lamine Yamal in particular has given a proper shot at the Champions League. And look, by far, he's the best young talent in the game as we speak. So if you're a coach and you've got such players at your disposal, you can only want more of such games to come your way. So they'll be fine. And I say this without any fear or favor. I think in the next 2 years, they will win the Champions League. If they don't win it next season, I think they'll win it next, because these guys can only get experience and they can only get better, and therefore they will handle such situations even better in the future, and that may ensure that they win it.
All right, later. Chris, thank you so much for your time, and we'll speak again soon. All the best on Thursday as Man United try to hold off Bilbao. That game is done.
Oh, that game is wrapped up. It is completely home and dry.
This is our dear Man United we are talking about.
Yes, as for this one, if Maguire and Co were to misbehave, they will see some of us on the pitch of Old Trafford, dealing with them with all ammunitions that is required of them. But just a quick one on Thomas Partey and Arsenal today.
Yeah, okay.
Look,
a quick one.
Wow, it's a big game. Charlie. It's a big game. The whole world is looking at Arsenal. You see, Arteta should believe that they've got what it takes to overturn this deficit. Those people at UEFA who sat down to get rid of the away goals, wherever they are, God will bless them. Because they are the reason why we saw what we saw yesterday. And they are the reason why we are going to see even more exciting and beautiful game. Because believe you me, if the away goals were staying in operation, we wouldn't see Inter play the way they play. It would have been a completely different approach. Even at 1-1, they would be okay with it. Even at 3-2, they would have been okay with it, isn't it? There wouldn't be the need to stress.
That's true.
And they would have won the game on their way goal rule. So that should tell you that those who sat there to get rid of that rule, God will bless them. Now, today, Arsenal will have to go into the game believing that they've got what it takes to beat PSG, because that is the first thing they will need to overturn that one goal deficit. 2, tactically, you cannot go in there and say, at the word go, we are going to equalize, because football will tell you from experience that when the game starts, PSG being the home team want to get every support base at the stadium to get behind, and the best way to do so is to go at Arsenal. Stay in the game for the first 15 to 20 minutes. I think if Arsenal can do that later, if you don't take it, we'll be in for something even more beautiful from the Gunners. If they can stay in the game for the first 15 to 20 minutes, keep it at 0-0. Then get the Ghanaian, get Thomas Partey to get on the ball. Calm the nerves of those guys in and around him. Get control, because I think the Neves boy and the other Portuguese boy, if Partey is on his A game, exactly. If Partey is on his A game alongside Declan Rice, I think they can handle these two lads. It is between these four. Yes, PSG has that Spanish boy, the left-footed Rios, and exactly. And that Arteta will have to find a proper way of getting Odegaard to engage that guy. He needs to. Odegaard will have to play one of his. If he cannot do it, bench him. Bench. I know he's the captain of the team, and in such big games, every coach want the leader of the team to go forward and the rest to follow. But it's about form. You know my stand on this matter. If you are an experienced player and you are not on form, experience will never come to your aid. But if you are an experienced player and your form is good, that is where the experience comes as an added advantage to get you beyond the finish line. So if Odegaard cannot produce the goal, Arteta will have to take a decision on him. I think the coming back of Thomas Partey is a plus. But having said that, you will have to respect the fullbacks of PSG. Those wing backs, the Mendes boy and the Moroccan international Hakimi. The way they play, the manner in which Luis Enrique deploys these two guys are so overwhelming and imposing and so dangerous for the opponent. They are so attacking minded that you have to be aware of their presence when PSG is on the attack. But Arsenal, again, because they are trailing, when these two wing backs go forward, they have to find a way of stretching the back three of PSG. That is where Thomas Partey was missed. I think that is where Thomas Partey will be very, very crucial. Because when you win the ball off them, give the ball to somebody who can pick the pass to Saka or Martinelli and get them to run. It is still very, very tight, very, very cagey. And I think that if Arsenal can stay in the game for the first 15 to 20 minutes, and if they can score the first goal, Nathan, I think they'll go to the final. But it is on condition that they stay in the game for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Having said that, PSG obviously goes into the game as the team on form. Because we saw Arsenal over the weekend, they lost to Bournemouth. PSG themselves, although they've lost their two last games, but when you look at their setup, it's been a makeshift selection from Luis Enrique. But that could help. That could be a problem. What you don't want to do is to overly break the rhythm of a team that is playing so well. He's rested some important players in his team for 2 weeks, continuous. Now coming back to ask them to rekindle or to relight the flame that they had going for them, the chemistry, the harmony that they had going for them in a competitive game is going to be a huge ask. But hey, this is Luis Enrique and his boys. They are capable. So look, let's wait and see what is going to happen. I believe strongly that Arsenal, if they stay in this game for the first 20 minutes, we may have an upset. Don't forget, anytime the final is played at the Allianz Arena, or anytime the final goes to Germany, a team that has never won the cup tend to win it. So if Arsenal or PSG were to get into the final historically, that day will go for them. Okay. But maybe football may have its own way. But no, I need you to call Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
What do you want to tell Mr. Ratcliffe?
The level we saw yesterday, Man United, we are 2 decades away from that standard. And this was the level, this was the standard of United during the day of Sir Alex Ferguson. Back this manager. Man United need to buy as many as 6-7 players that will fit the system of Amorim. I believe in Amorim. I have no doubt whatsoever. The system he plays is player oriented, is player centered. If you look, I saw Antonio Conte use that system to win the EPL. I've seen coaches use that system to dominate leagues. Once you get the players suited for the system, you are home and dry and you go. This manager is a born winner. I think if United get to the final, which they will get to the Europa League final, will win it. Be it Spurs or Bodo Glint. No more Obanya Fushi to Wakeche.
All right, we'll see how it goes.